Join me today as I create a red, gold, and crystal Christmas tree for the room that has the quote from "Twas the Night Before Christmas," and the children were all nestled, all snug in their beds. Everyone, Joe here. Thanks so much for stopping by today in the continuation of my Christmas 2025 series, "Twas the Night Before Christmas." And I'm still here in the family room, and this room has been, every room is a bear this year. You know, for people who know me, you know I always say the floor is a bear, but every room is a bear this year. And this room, you know, every single room I've been using some kind of verse from the poem "Twas the Night Before Christmas." And in this room on the fireplace, if you saw that video, I have the children were nestled all snug in their beds. And I have in the book that I created, there's a picture of the kids sleeping, and you see like angels above them and stuff, because you know the little kitties are little angels. So what I did was I took off on that, and I thought, okay, this is a good place to put our nativity and other angels and things like that, because it kind of loosely ties in with it. You know, I'm trying to stay on track with the theme, but it's always difficult, and if you can't use your imagination, then this is not for you. But anyway, so the fireplace is a very kind of natural looking. It has a lot of berries and pine cones and stuff like that. It doesn't have anything glitzy or anything like that. So I wanted to create the tree in the room that goes along with that. So it was really a difficult process for me to figure this out. I must have drew up a million different designs and concepts and everything else. And then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go really, really simple. I'm just going to put the lights on the tree, and I'm going to put berries on the tree, and that's it. I did that, and I don't know, if it was one of those years where I had 17 Christmas trees, I probably would have left it like that. But since it's a year that I don't have 17 Christmas trees going on, I wanted it to be a little bit more special. You know, people come and they don't quite understand things. You know, they're I don't know what they don't understand it, because they're not like you that are watching this and have a knowledge of what's going on, in the design world for Christmas. So people, they don't get it. So I have to make it something a little bit more accessible for them. So then I decided, okay, well, I'm going to do a lot of the berries on the tree, but I'm going to make it monochromatic. I'm going to put a lot of red, just red, period, because I'm using a lot of red. Did I know that red was going to be overly trending this year along with Ralph Lauren for Christmas? No, I didn't, because remember, I did this way back when, and it just so happens that this year red is has returned as a big force in Christmas. And why not? I mean, it's the traditional color, and it's what people really like. So anyway, I was going to do the tree in a monochromatic red, and then I decided, you know what, I don't think I'm going to do that. Then I thought, okay, well, maybe I'm going to make a spiral of gold, and then I'm going to fill in the rest in red. And then I was like, no, that's a little bit too trendy and modern looking for the look that I'm looking for. I'm looking for an old-fashioned, old-world kind of a look. So again, I'm sorry that I'm rambling, but it's, I'm just trying to get this out because it's been in my head so long. So I decided, okay, I need to make a tree that is traditional looking and old-fashioned looking, but with a little bit of a twist, for a little bit of modern twist. Again, not for the normal person, because they don't get it, but for people that have some kind of design sensibility. So in this room, I have a lot of the red and the gold going on. So I decided I'm just going to put red and gold, all over the tree, and no pattern, just whatever, just red and gold balls only, right? And I was looking at it last night. Marion and I were watching Matlock on the DVR. Did you watch that show? That show is great. The new Matlock, not the old one, the new one. Well, anyway, and I'm looking at the tree and I'm thinking, you know what? It needs something. So I decided, well, I had crystals hanging on the mantle, so I think I'm going to use crystal droplets on the tree. So, it's always a little bit of a pain, when it's an afterthought like that. I got them on. I'm looking at it over there. I got them on, and I like it. It looks great when the lights are on. When the lights are off, it looks okay, you know. And then this morning I got up and I was like, you know what? It needs a little bit more. So I have these little crystal bows. They're like a little bow, and you know, bows are trending again. You know, those big gigantor ones that are on the trees, and which I don't particularly care for myself. But I decided, okay, well, here's another trending factor, the bow, but it's a twist on it because it's a crystal bow. So I put that on, and it just picks up light, and that's all I wanted. I wanted a reflective property. I wanted, you know, bouncing of the light and so on, because remember, I want it to look magical. That's the idea. And you know, it's funny. This year, we're getting a lot of people coming while I'm decorating. That's never happened before. And there was someone here yesterday who was kind of mesmerized with what was going on. And, you know, the house is upside down with all stuff. But, you know, for example, she was looking at the reindeer tree, and Marianne said, look at this beautiful Mackenzie child Santa that a YouTube friend sent us, and she didn't even know who Mackenzie Child was. So it's kind of funny because, you know, all of us that are involved with this YouTube stuff, we know all those things, but a lot of people don't know those things. So that's what I'm talking about. You have to kind of design based on the normal person. You know, she just kept saying, oh my God, kids must be mesmerized when they come here. And like always, you know, we have to tell her that it's childlike through the eyes of an adult, but it's not so kid friendly. There's a lot of glass and things all over the place that, you know, antiques that are kind of scary when little kids are around. But anyway, and also, you know, I have no ribbon on the tree either, because I was going to include, you know, the tartan ribbon on there, but I didn't want it to come off I was trying to do another Ralph Lauren. I did a Ralph Lauren tree a long time ago. And basically Ralph Lauren is just classic, timeless, earthy, traditional, and, you know, gives you those feels that many of us feel when we have Christmas. So I have tartan going on in the room. I have plaid, because not so much because it's Ralph Lauren. I mean, it is Ralph Lauren, but that wasn't the goal. It's that it's Christmassy feeling, and that's what I'm trying to do, that old-fashioned Christmas feeling. So I didn't put any ribbon on the tree, and I specifically stayed away from putting tartan ribbon on there. I love Ralph Lauren. I love him all the time. I love, you know, the clothes he designs, the housing, the furniture, every single thing about it. But I didn't want the tree to come off that. I was trying to do that because then that would be in a totally different direction. So anyway, after all that, let's take a look at what I did. So the tree that I'm using in here is kind of a slim tree, and it's older, and actually, you know, each row gets put in, you know, like the old-fashioned ones put in, and it's not pre-lit. I have to light the whole thing. But what I did was I spray painted it gold a while back, and I was going to spray paint it another color this year. Didn't get to it, so I left it gold. What I'm doing is I'm adding in branches from an old Christmas tree. By adding in the branches, I can tone down the gold of the tree, and I can also shape the tree a little bit differently. And these branches are more sturdy, and they can handle heavier things. Not that I'm putting heavy things on the tree, but it's just the nature of it. Yeah, so I tell you, I cut up my old 12-foot tree, and I use those branches everywhere. So don't throw an old tree out, because you can use it as fillers for garland and whatnot. Okay, so the next thing I did was I started adding in the berry and leaf picks, and I put them in now before I put the lights on, because usually if I put the lights on first and then put the picks in, they cover up the lights. So I wanted to incorporate the picks with the lights. So that's what I did, that order first. Next thing in were the lights, and I used white mini lights for the tree, all white, and I think what happened was the tree took a total of 1,100 lights, and then I added another 100 twinkling lights on top of that. And here's the tree with the 1,100 lights on it. I hadn't put the twinkling lights on yet. I did it right after I looked at this, and I figured they need it. Next on were the red ornaments. So I filled the tree with the red first. And as you can see, it's a lot less dense than I normally do because remember, I want the tree to look more old-fashioned than so modern. And next in was the gold, and I applied it the same way. I didn't want the tree to be overbearing with ornaments, but I wanted a lot on there, and I think I got a lot on without it being overbearing. All right, as another filler, I used some ficus leaves that I spray painted gold, and I did that last year, so I didn't have to do that this year. And these beautiful frosty berries that we got in the Dollar Tree, they don't have them anymore. Why not? Crystal beads that I got in the Dollar Zone a few years back. Some other crystal garland from the Dollar Zone as well. And you can see I did some with droplets, some with the long piece, and some just by on their own. And here are the crystal bows. Aren't they great? Okay, let's take a look at the finished product. Thanks for stopping by. I'll be seeing you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.